Darling, after watching this movie, I found how we're going to spend our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah? Do tell.
We're going on a train trip.
On the Orient Express?
On the actual Orient Express, yes.
So we have $5,000 per day per person, essentially?
Yeah, it's going to be like 20 grand. It's going to be awesome. So, I'm Tyler.
I'm Shay.
And this is Cinematically Correct.
And this movie is Murder on Orient Express. We shook up our calendar a little bit just because we had so many old movies in a row, which old doesn't equal bad.
In our defense, it's kind of a requirement to do some of the classic horror movies for Halloween in October.
Right. So we were on a little bit of a theme for Halloween, and now we're rolling into November, or I guess chugging along if we want to stay with theme here.
Really?
I had to. I just had to.
You didn't have to. You made a conscious choice to say that.
Anyway, so we will be doing more, like, I don't know how to explain November movies, but...
Well, they are themed again.
Slightly.
This one is not themed, but our next choice is themed, and then...
And then it's a poll winner, and then another themed one. So right. Football was kind of more the theme-ish, but things got moved around to kind of give you guys a little bit more of the movies you've been asking for. So this is a newer movie. It came out in 2017?
2017, although it's a remake of a movie from the 1970s, which is a book adaptation. So
right, which none of us have read, which is odd, because we both read quite a bit.
I'm actually in the hunt for a new book to read at work.
So, here you go.
Great. Add it to the list.
Yeah, you do have quite a pile. But anyway, so do you want to give a brief synopsis of this movie?
Sure. So, a bunch of people on a train leaving Istanbul going to Paris. They get stuck in the mountains from an avalanche. A guy gets murdered, and a detective on the train has to figure out who did it, and he figures out who did it. Without going into too many spoilers. Yeah,
that's about right. Yeah. So this is one of the few whodunit movies that I've really seen that's really done this way. Like, you know, with the searching for the answer and then coming up at the end with whodunit type thing. Which I really like that format. But I wish that they gave, in this movie, I wish they gave more clues to the person viewing to try to figure it out along the way.
So that they could have an insight. It was kind of... Well, if we had been privy to seeing that or being a part of that,
right,
we would have been able to follow along, whereas we're kind of just held in the dark until the end.
Right. So the beginning of the movie, it starts off with Poirot, the detective.
Poirot.
I don't know how to say that, but I thought it was French, so that would be Poirot. But anyway... in Jerusalem, and one of the scenes that sticks out to me at the beginning was he was given eggs from a small boy, and they were uneven, and he said he blames the hen for the uneven eggs, something like that.
Right, because he's OCD as a son of a bitch.
Right, so that's where I was going with that. So it's very clear right at the beginning of the movie that he's very OCD, and it really speaks to the theme of balance in this movie. It's all about kind of everything leveling out, like when he steps in the poop and then he has to put his other boot in poop because he has to level it out. Also the fact that he reads the book The Tale of Two Cities the entire time that he's on the train, which, you know, starts with the quote, "This is the best of times, this is the worst of times." So balance is obviously the theme here.
Right. I did not appreciate his OCD as much as I appreciated another detective with OCD. If I'm going to be honest.
We're going to go in Sherlock Holmes, aren't we?
No.
Oh.
This is Tony Shalhoub playing Monk on the television show.
Oh, I've only seen a few episodes of Monk. I did very much enjoy what I've seen, but it was on cable, which we all know I don't have.
Right. But I've always loved that television series. It's a fantastic series. Highly recommended. And it's more you relate to him rather than it's almost like he's being a dick.
He reminds me of Sherlock Holmes in that way.
Well, yes.
Especially Benedict Cumberbatch version of Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
Very arrogant, conceited.
Aloof, sure of himself. I'm probably the best detective in the world.
Right. And I will say I love Benedict Cumberbatch. And I appreciated this version of Poirot. Is that what it was?
Yes.
As well. I do wish that it was a little bit different, because from what I've read about the book, he doesn't come off as Sherlock Holmesy as he does in this movie.
Right.
But since we're on the topic of Perot, do we want to talk about the mustache? I mean, because I feel like we can't go through the whole podcast.
The spectacular mustache.
Spectacular. Is that the word we're going with?
Astonishing?
It looked like he had slugs on his face.
Well, he had the double mustache, for those of you who are not aware of the remake of this movie, where he has a mustache, but then also a side mustache.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
His...
Now, I'm going to say I am a very big fan of facial hair. I am. But in that situation, I started to just not know. Like, first of all, if you were to kiss him, that would go up your nose in every direction that you couldn't even get away from it.
Also, it was immaculately maintained with the mustache face guard when he's sleeping.
I thought that was Johnny Depp that had the mustache face guard.
No, that was...
Are you sure?
Yes, very sure.
I swear Johnny Depp had one,
It was form-fitted to the double mustache. Like, it was custom built.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I wrote down mustache face guard, but...
It was definitely for Poirot.
Okay. Well, anyways, moving forward. So, do you want to go into, like, what happens next after the Jerusalem bit? Which, okay, actually, no.
That was like the starting points of a joke. A rabbi, a priest, and an imam all walk into a...
Nope. I am not going to engage in that. I'm gonna let that go. Let that fly away. We don't need the podcast to hate you any more than they already do.
We kind of do.
I mean, we do. In looking at numbers, we kind of do. Hate him, please.
Doesn't make me wrong. It is kind of like the intro to a joke where the three people that are not supposed to be congregating together are just together.
Okay, fair. What I would want to ask about that, though, is did that have anything to do with the movie?
Other than exposition in terms of showing that he's a very good detective.
And to establish the theme of balance.
Right.
But other than that, like...
No, other than explaining that he's a very good detective, it had no point in the movie.
But I mean, I could have figured out he was a very good detective by him being a detective.
That was just a quick way to do it.
Okay. And then, so then they get on the train.
Well, they get on a boat, and then they get...
The boat is also irrelevant.
Okay. Then they get on a train, and they ride the train. He gets on the train because of some secret government mission, because it's the 1930s, and World War II is about to happen, and...
Well, so one thing you're not mentioning is that he got on the train because somebody else didn't show up. So he was able to get on the train, because that's important later on.
Correct.
In the movie. So I want to clarify that he got on because somebody else didn't show up for the train, so he was able to get on by working with the conductor.
Now, my question on that is, was that person part of the whole conspiracy that the movie is based on?
So there's a conspiracy theory about this, but we are not getting into it right now because that would be jumping. So I just wanted to establish that, so...
He's very lucky to get on the train.
Yes.
Because it was a packed train. And then... I loved his line where he's reading his roommate's face, the drunk.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yes, McQueen. And he says, yes, I'm equally disappointed in you.
I don't remember that, and it's out of context, so I don't really know.
Well, so he's walking into the train, and he has to share a cabin, and he's OCD, and he doesn't want to share a cabin. He doesn't...
Oh, and obviously McQueen is upset for obvious reasons once you get to the end of the movie.
Right. And he's like, oh God, he's on a train and we're all going to die.
Right.
And so he just reads that look of disappointment on McQueen's face and he goes, yeah, no, I feel the same way.
Understandable. Okay, so I mean, there's really, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it in a bad way because I like this movie, but at the beginning, before the murder happens, really nothing happens. And it's honestly very hard to stay engaged because, one, their accents are super thick and it's really hard to understand what they're saying. So unless you're like really invested, you lose things. And two, really nothing happens.
Well, they get on a train for the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Right. And I mean, they don't even really... they introduce the characters, but not in a way where you really care about them. Very few of the characters ever have any character development where you really start feeling invested in them. Right. But other than that, so I felt it was a little bit difficult in the beginning for me to really care, because I'm like, still nothing's happened? Did I miss something? Still nothing? No, okay, still nothing.
And you don't connect with the characters. Like, they're introduced and then they disappear, and then they're introduced again and they disappear, and they introduced again. And
right, and even Johnny Depp's character. So Johnny Depp's character is the one who gets killed. And
spoilers, darling. Spoilers.
Well, I mean, if they're listening to the podcast, they know there's going to be spoilers. What the heck?
So, yes, okay, fine. Johnny Depp dies.
Yes, and it's pretty much at the beginning of the movie. But, so I have two problems with it. One, you don't get to know Johnny Depp's character enough to care that he was murdered, really. I mean, you have, like, 2 scenes with him and you're kind of, like, done. And 2, really, the only explanation they give as to why Poirot cares enough to really investigate this is because the cops will show up and they will hang the guy who's the doctor because he's black.
Or the gentleman who is, I believe, from Mexico.
Right. So it was like skin color thing. Right. He said like they're gonna just do that without.
It is the 1930s and kind of racist, so.
Right, but he said that they're gonna do that without investigation, so I have to investigate this murder. But it's established pretty quickly that Poirot hates Johnny Depp's character.
Well, everyone hates his character. He's a terrible person and has no redeeming quality.
Right, but it just seemed odd. Like, well, then couldn't they all concoct a story together about, like, somebody got on the train and disappeared, or...
Oh, yeah, some random person got on the train, hopped off, and ran away.
Like, why wouldn't he be more motivated to do that than to figure out who did it? Like, he obviously had no care for this person. The only thing that I guess you could say is he just likes to solve mysteries.
Well, that, and it's I think it's also an ego thing for him, where if he doesn't find the person who did it, that's an unsolved case.
I guess, but I mean...
Which counts against his personal tally.
I guess, if you say so.
I did like the line about the rosé when they're having the racist conversation in the train car.
Okay, you've wanted to talk about that line, so go for it.
Where Willem Dafoe's character says something to the effect, "Oh, I just want to keep separated from the doctor who happens to be black, just for both our benefit, because if you mix white wine with red wine, you ruin both of them." And then Daisy Ridley pours the red wine into the white while looking at his face. He goes, "I've always loved a little bit of rosé." Fantastic.
I mean, definitely ahead of her time, considering it was 30s.
Delightful.
So, I mean, do you have a lot of plot points you want to go through? Because for me, there, again, wasn't a lot that happened. There's a lot that I liked about this movie, but plot points aren't necessarily that.
I wanted to talk about how the shots were set up. I felt a lot of them were almost set up like a theater production, where they're like giving you limited shots. I think that's partly to do with the train, and they don't have a whole lot of different set pieces. Mm-hmm. But it had some kind of theater pageantry to it.
It reminded me of the Polar Express, is what it reminded me of.
That too.
So, I mean, I really did like the shot. I know they said he did it on like a 6mm or something like
65
that.
65mm.
65. Okay, well, you know, I tried. But
6mm, like that.
So he said he had worked on a similar camera with a previous movie,
Dunkirk, which was also well shot. Excellent cinematography for a war movie. Not a lot of blood, but we're getting off topic.
Yeah. So yeah, cinematography was good for this movie, but what about the score?
I didn't have a problem with the score.
Was there a score?
I don't know. Was there?
Very little.
Okay.
I mean, the lack of music or any kind of accompaniment was kind of jarring to me.
Really?
I mean, for me, I'm used to looking for music and sound cues.
You look for music, you don't listen for music?
But, like, especially in, like, things that are supposed to be mysterious, you would expect more audio clues.
I didn't pick up on that. And you know full well why I didn't pick up on that.
Well, yes, you're tone deaf and you don't care about music.
100% tone deaf.
I'm not saying there wasn't anything at all, but it was very sparse. I mean, especially coming off of John Carpenter movies.
Yes, I guess that's fair, because it was... I mean, you're talking about one of the most influential horror movie soundtracks ever with the Mike Myers theme song.
Right.
to this. I just didn't pick up on it because I'm tone deaf and I don't pick up on music. That's just not my thing.
No, I get it. One thing I did want to mention was who we thought did it, because we were definitely...
Partial credit for us.
Okay. But both of us automatically believed that it was Penelope Cruz's character, mostly because she played the innocent card.
And a little bit preachy.
A little too hard. Yeah, you were like, yeah, I mean, why are you being like that? Like, it was a lot. And usually the one that plays that card that hard is the one who did it.
Yeah.
Which, sure, partial credit. We'll give ourselves.
Partial credit. We deserve partial credit. Which we will get to at the end of the podcast.
Right, which I'm hoping that we move along to, because we're at 16 minutes.
Oh, God. Okay, fine. What else would you like to talk about? I like that it was a reference to the Lindbergh case.
Okay, so we're doing Tyler's History Minute.
I guess. So, Charles Lindbergh flew airplanes, was a bit of a Nazi, had his baby or toddler kidnapped, paid the ransom, they killed the baby anyway. Very sad.
You sound very sad. Okay, go on.
Well, I didn't know a whole lot before. I knew the basics, but I didn't know any of the specifics. This case is the reason that the FBI considers kidnapping a federal crime.
Yes, because of the kidnapping app, commonly called the Lindbergh Law, which makes transporting a kidnapping victim across state lines a federal crime.
They also came up with the idea for tracking serial numbers on dollars.
Yes.
For this. Mm-hmm. The ransom note was both polite and looks like it was written by a 4-year-old at the same time. And maybe by someone who is English as a second language. So try to be a little bit sensitive. Bad Tyler.
I feel like we should cut that out, but okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, it was a real thing. A child was murdered. Very sad. And they put this in the movie. Or the story.
And we're not going to talk about the similarities with the thing we're currently obsessed with? Really?
So, the person who was eventually tried, convicted, and executed for the Lindbergh baby kidnapping, there is some degree of doubt over whether or not he is actually the one responsible.
Yeah, so I think his name was like Hauptmann or something like that.
Hauptmann, I believe.
And he was basically found to be the one who did it because he was found with a large sum of the ransom money.
14,000 of the 50,000 total.
Right. But there was a lack of fingerprints or any kind of physical evidence beyond that. And he claims that that money was left by somebody else. And that other person was, I can't remember what kind of sickness they had, but they had some kind of sickness and they were not able to have been at the place to murder them. So that's why they were ruled out. But there's conspiracy theories out there saying the lack of physical evidence and the fact that Charles Lindbergh himself had a lot of control over the investigation, which seems true. He did.
I also think one of the problems was the crime scene was contaminated by people walking all over the house.
Right. So there's a lot of question on did he actually do this, and what a lot of people are actually pointing the finger at Charles Lindbergh himself, saying maybe he did it. Right. So I don't know. I mean, but he did control the investigation a lot. Obviously, with money comes that kind of power.
Right.
So anyways, we're currently watching Making a Murderer Part 2, and so this was like basically
hit us in the face.
Yeah, it was like a reiteration of that, because we're like, oh, cops not doing their job and framing someone? How new and different for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of that's true. If you guys have any like weird conspiracy theory articles about the Lindbergh case, I'd totally be interested in reading them, because I just like reading that kind of stuff.
Oh, she likes all things morbid and creepy.
Yeah, so send them our way. Just tweet us.
Don't actually send them like actual crimes to us. Like, don't.
No.
Yeah, don't send
conspiracy theory articles about this case is what I'm asking for.
Yeah, don't send like dead animals through the mail. That's really messed up. Don't do that.
And please don't give them ideas.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I did like the concept, although how did we not see it coming?
Okay, so are we at the end of the movie?
I think we're at the end of the movie, finally.
Okay, so at the end of the movie, after him doing investigating, basically he goes through and he interviews individually each person, and as he goes, he finds out that each person is connected to, I believe that he called it the Armstrong family in the movie. And so each time you're like, wait, they're connected too, and they're connected, and they're connected.
Right.
So it starts getting weird. And then at the end, you find out, oh, they all did this together. It was a conspiracy. So...
This is actually a conspiracy that is true.
Right. And at the beginning of this, we said that it's important that he got on the train because somebody got let off, because there is also a conspiracy theory out there that says that he was actually let on the train by them because they realized that they would have to face this, so they wanted him to come and do the investigation. And I wish I could see all of my write-up for that, but I have lost it. So anyways, there is a conspiracy theory out there that says that they let him on the train. So it's kind of a question of, did they let him on, or was it a happenstance that somebody didn't show up, and was that person that didn't show up, he was supposed to be part of the murder? Like,
well, then he missed out on getting his revenge and stabbing him then. I don't know if I was that invested in my revenge. I don't think I'd give up a seat.
Well, in the book, they booked a fake room and put a fake person's name on it so that they could make that fake person their fall guy.
Oh.
So then the question is, was that fake person...
The fall guy?
Was that the fake person in that room, and then the conductor didn't know it was a fake person and looked and saw there was no one there and let him on by accident. So that it's a question that people don't seem to know, but it's a debate online.
Blows your whole plan straight to hell.
Right. So is your fall guy now going to be the
detective that is not the person you had intended?
Right. So I want to ask you, how do you feel about the way he handled finding all of this out? Because he kind of he handed them the gun and he said, I'm not going to be able to stay silent. You either kill me or I'm going to talk. And then he decided, oh, actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk because you guys aren't murderers. You were just seeking justice.
So I don't know if I would trust them with a gun, honestly.
Well, they didn't try to kill him. They tried to shoot herself, and it didn't work. So what I'm thinking is he put no bullets in it.
Of course he put no bullets in it, but...
So he was trying to decide if they were murderers or not, and when they didn't shoot him, he that's when he made the decision. That's what I thought.
Well, that is what happened. That's how that worked.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you're condescending.
I don't know if I would trust them to make that right decision.
Okay, but do you think he was right in saying he's not going to turn them in because they're not murderers, they're seeking justice?
Oh, I think this is a victimless crime.
You do?
Yes.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Because the person who died clearly deserved to die, and it was a betterment of society kind of killing.
Okay. All right. Well then, that's all I needed to know.
If you kill Hitler, that's a public service. Like, you shouldn't be punished.
I don't think a mobster, or whatever you want to call him...
He killed a baby. Like, that's kind of mean and messed up.
Well, but also in the real story, we don't actually know if he actually did it. Did anybody ask him?
Did he do it? No, I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
But how do we know for sure he did it?
Well...
You have a bunch of the family members saying he did it, but did he do it?
They were already wrong once when they killed the maid.
So did he do it?
I don't know. I would assume so. That's just I took that as canon, as that yes, he did kill the baby, and that they are rightfully justified in wanting him dead.
See, I didn't take that as so to me, you don't have a right, just like the government doesn't have a right to kill someone without solid evidence. Aren't you innocent until proven guilty? I guess in the situation, I think one of them said that she saw him, but as we know from, I think we saw in Adam Ruins Everything or something, that you basically have confirmation bias.
Cross-promotion like a son of a bitch in this episode. Netflix, Make Me Murder.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. But confirmation bias, where somebody tells you this person did it.
It was the maid woke up and fought with him.
Well, right. But if someone hands you a picture and says...
begs the question, why was the maid a suspect in the first place if she said she fought with a man?
See, there's so many questions. But my thing is, if someone hands you a picture and says this person did it, then you look at the picture and then you see the person, you're like, yes, they did it. Even because your memory is not perfect. It's not infallible. You can...
It's very true.
So I'm just saying, did a person deserve to die when they have very little concrete evidence that it was actually him? Although it could be. But were they right in doing that?
Well... I just thought that he had did it.
I know, I
didn't put any deeper thought into it other than...
I'm not making him run her a cake right now. I'm sorry, but I put a lot of thought into this.
I want to question you on this. If you imprison the maid that is not guilty, and she then kills herself, if you're the maid's brother or the person that fell in love with the maid, who would you blame for her death?
If she was wrongfully accused...
Would you blame the prosecuting attorney?
No, the person who accused her.
But you're not going to blame the person that actually committed the crime. You're not going to make that leap. You're just going to assume that the person that's responsible...
Well, the person who committed the crime has nothing to do with her being wrongfully accused, unless they, like, planted her evidence or something, but otherwise...
Okay, barring the actual person that committed the crime, planting evidence, say it was just the police or somebody got the wrong information or they interpreted information incorrectly and she was wrongly accused. Who do you blame?
Whoever did the accusing.
So why would he then stab the guy that did the crime, presumably, rather than go after the person that sent her to prison?
See, I'm telling you, these are great questions. See,
I personally would go your direction and blame the person that was responsible for her being in prison and then killing herself.
You got to look at it as it's the justice system's job to follow through with an accusation like that. So,
well, it's supposed to be better 100 guilty people go free than one innocent person go to prison.
I 100% agree with that.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, no, we know. We
very much know.
Right. So is there any other little things you want to go through? Because I have a few, like, just things that aren't quite...
Well, I like Kenneth Branagh.
He directed Thor? Which one?
I don't remember.
Something to do with the Dark World.
So that would be number 2.
Oh, well then. I did not know this, and somebody talked about it online, and I was like,
he's in a lot of movies that I liked. So he was in Harry Potter. He was in Valkyrie. He's been in a lot of things.
I have not seen, according to the IMDb that I briefly looked through, I have only seen him in Harry Potter movies. That is it.
We're going to have to fix that because some of his movies are fantastic.
Yeah, so Kenneth Branagh movies you want us to watch, send them to me because clearly I am...
I mean, there's a star-studded cast all the way around. You got Dame Judi Dench.
The guy from Hamilton.
Aaron Burr from Hamilton. Johnny Depp.
Ray
from Star Wars. Daisy.
Ridley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who else?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Yes.
Which didn't look like Michelle Pfeiffer at all, but I mean, that's fine.
You got the butler guy. I can't remember his name, but he's very famous. I've seen him in a lot of things.
Can't remember it either.
Yeah, a lot of star-studded cast in this.
Josh Gad.
Yep.
Which was Olaf?
Yes, from Frozen.
Yeah.
I want to talk about burning evidence. So they had that scene where they burned the note to see the message.
Yep.
That doesn't work, right? Like, that's not a thing.
So, my question was it, like, etched in there or something? Because, like, maybe, like, with texture, like, the fire would stick to the texture in some way?
I have no explanation unless it doesn't make sense to my mind. So if someone can prove to me that actually works...
I want video proof. I want video proof. Don't give me a dissertation. I want video proof that it works.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I got, really.
Okay. So the only other thing I want to talk about, which I sent you, which I just thought was interesting, was...
side-by-side?
Well, I forgot about that. So there is a video out there. It's a side-by-side of the original, I think, 1974 movie and this one, and just how close they were.
The mustache was not close.
No, but it honestly was kind of cool to see the differences between the movies and the similarities. It was kind of cool to watch.
It wasn't. I'll give you that.
Right, but the other thing I sent you was the game.
Oh.
So it was called Werewolf, and the cast of the movie played this game, and it was like mafia against non-mafia members. It was basically a party-style game, and Penelope Cruz was the one who always won because she's the most innocent of the group. But I'm putting that in air quotes because I don't know what that means. Like, innocent face not a good liar. Like, what?
I don't know.
Don't know. But the game looks really fun, so I'm probably going to post that for you guys to check out, because I'm thinking next holiday we're going to have to play this game, because it looks extremely fun. And I don't even know where these people got it from, to be honest with you. I'm trying to see if there's anything we skipped over, because I wrote way too many notes.
Agatha Christie doesn't like mustaches, apparently. Any of them. Either the original or the remake mustache. She can't make up her mind.
That's... I don't know what to say to that.
I don't know. That was something I found on IMDb.
Ooh. So, before I started this movie, I was a little sad that Johnny Depp was not partnering with...
Helena Bonham Carter?
Yes. Now, do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
So, Kenneth Branagh cheated on his wife, Emma Thompson, with Helena Bonham Carter.
I did read that.
Yes. I was like, wait, so at least I brought her into the movie. I miss you. I miss you. I don't think we've done a movie with her, but I love her. Love her.
We have definitively not done a movie with her in it.
But
I did see a trailer for the worst movie I think I've ever seen a trailer for.
What?
It was a Johnny Depp movie about him being a vampire.
I don't know if I know that movie.
It was...
Is that In Hell?
No.
Oh, because I was going to say, I want to see that movie, so...
You've never seen In Hell? That's Jack the Ripper.
I know, so I want to see it. Anyway, go
on. But it's got Michelle Pfeiffer in it, actually.
Oh.
And he's a guy that's turned into a vampire and then has to come back and live with his family in the 1970s.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Yeah, it was
anyways.
not a great trailer.
Okay, I don't know why you said that. But anyway, but my question to you about that was... do you feel differently about Kenneth Branagh knowing he cheated on Emma Thompson, of all people?
A little bit, yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm going to judge him on that, yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because I felt a little like, oh, you stink.
No, I mean, I like him as an actor. He's a very talented actor.
Well, yeah, but you can't cheat on Emma Thompson.
Well, you can. He did it.
But Emma Thompson?
It is doable.
Well, yes. Now, anyway, you said you had one more thing, because we do have audience ask.
This is tied to the audience ask, so I'll let you...
Okay, do you want to point to which one it is so I say it?
It's the Johnny Depp one.
Okay, so let's see. From the Contrarians. I don't know why I almost could not say that. Is it possible as an audience member to put away all the baggage that Johnny Depp carries around these days?
So the answer is yes, because neither of us were aware before that question was asked.
And I love Johnny Depp.
You do?
Maybe I just avoid negative press about him.
Apparently, because... He's apparently a toxic person to work with or be around or have any interactions with.
I don't know anybody like that.
He spent $2 million a month just to spend money, I guess. I don't know. How do you spend $2 million a month? He spent $30,000 a month on wine. I don't know if I could spend $30,000 a month.
I don't know what to say.
I was completely unaware. And
yeah, so your question, Contrarians, actually made us look it up because we had no idea. I did notice that he hadn't been in as many movies, but I thought maybe he was just taking a little bit of a break, you know.
Well, he's made so much money, why would he work anymore?
Right.
I would just do whatever I want. But apparently he's been doing that and spending an ungodly amount of money. I didn't realize that Judi Dench was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Did you know that?
I did not, but why are we talking about Judi Dench?
Because Johnny Depp is in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay, and then the last audience asked question, which will be very fast. It's from a face, mainly your mother, and nerded on us. How quickly would you have picked up on the twist, and what would have been the clue? So, for me anyways, I don't think I would have picked up on the twist quickly, because I was watching the movie as if it was one of those movies where, like, you get a clue and then you have to tie it to another clue and then like it all like reveals itself. So that wasn't this movie. And I don't think I would have picked up on it. But I don't know if you are different.
I didn't pick up on the twist mostly because I was trying to find the one person, because that's the traditional whodunit. That's Clue, that's like all murder mysteries, it's one person. Right. So that's what I was focused on for the whole movie. Because I'd never read the book, I'd never seen the movie, the original or this one, and I was looking for the one guilty party.
Right. So, to answer your question, no, we obviously could not figure out the twist.
Although, again, we should have, because literally everyone on the train hated this person.
Right, and we kept saying, it's so weird that everyone has a connection.
We really did. It was really bad.
Yeah,
we're like, wow, what are the chances that they're also on the train? That's kind of weird. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, I'm an idiot. I am the dumbest person.
Yes. So anyways, so we went over as we always do. So I guess you guys should just expect that it's going to be almost 40 minutes at this point. But next week's movie is...
My choice, Remember the Titans.
Oh, we didn't rate the movie, and that would have been bad. So sorry. I know you guys don't like it when we jump around. People have told me that, and we're working on it.
Deal with it. Or
that. So rating the movie 1 to 10?
I'll give it an 8.75.
Yeah. I mean, I'd give it an 8. The slow opening was a bit much for me. We watch these movies at night, so I have a tendency to fall asleep if they get slow. Luckily, I didn't do that in this movie, but I got distracted a lot. So, okay, now we can move on. So next week's movie is Remember the Titans. That's your choice.
One of my favorite football movies of all time. You've never seen it, which is... Internet attacker for not seeing this movie because it's Denzel Washington.
In fairness, I don't know that I haven't seen it. It may have been a movie that I saw, but maybe just don't remember very well.
And oddly appropriate given the times with the new allegations about someone from that movie.
I guess tune in next week to find out what he's talking about. So I just want to give my thank you to Jake at This Music for our intro and outro music. And thank you guys for listening. And please share this with your friends as we are needing as many new listeners as we can get.